My name's Esperanza Martinez. I am from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'm 38 years old. My story with CCM started last year and a half ago, February of 2022. I was diagnosed after a brain hemorrhage in my brain stem. I didn't really know where to go, and I knew nobody with CCM. Nobody, it just was not well spread knowledge around anybody that I knew. And the doctors really didn't even seem well informed either. But I searched the internet and I came across the Alliance to Cure website, joining the calls and started to learn about the illness. And a month later, I found myself in Arizona undergoing a craniotomy. And the left side of my head was shaved. Experience deficits before and after the surgery. Before, the symptoms were like a stroke. So right side weakness, right legs began to drag, and after the surgery, those deficits remained permanent because the damage was already done. I had already blood in the brain, and I have permanent weakness on the right side and still some dragging on my leg. After the surgery, I now have no feeling on the left side of my face. It's completely numb, and I feel no temperature, nothing. I don't feel when I brush my teeth. I don't feel if I put mascara on. It's completely numb. There's a lot that goes into recovery, not only physically. After my surgery, I had to learn to really walk on my own again. Drive. I didn't drive for more than half the year. Swallowing, eating, since I had no feeling, it's hard to swallow because there's no sensation. I don't feel anything. And then you have a lot of physical therapy. I have balance issues. I won't ever run with my kids again. Originally, being diagnosed with CCM and knowing that you have to live with this for the rest of your life is very hard to accept, and then to learn to adapt to your new life. Mental health is very important when you are deciding to have surgery or not have surgery, or just accepting your diagnosis. The Alliance is a great first point for anybody. Reason being was when I came across the website and I registered, I don't remember what it was, but I guess it triggered an email, and then I was contacted by an employee of the Alliance, Linda Fuscher. She introduced herself and was one of the very first people to educate me on CCM. So I didn't know who she was personally. I I was in the dark. I knew nothing. So having that first contact with her was great. And then I believe she's the one that maybe even told me about the Facebook meetings, and that's when I started to join those and then meet more people, both locally and across, around the country. clinical trials, I believe, are very important to where we will be in the future. Since I have tested positive for the genetic form, I really don't know where we will end up, because it's genetic and we evolve. So maybe just medication to help with stabilizing the cavernomas, preventing the growth, preventing the bleeds, helping with the symptoms, the seizures, the migraines, double vision. There's so many symptoms. And I'd also like to see more education within the healthcare industry. I think I was turned away from the hospital before I was taken seriously, and finally had tests done just because they thought I was experiencing a migraine. So I think that's very important. There's a lot of misdiagnosis, and they don't recognize the symptoms. Like, they just think it's a migraine, but I was bleeding in the brain. It could be more serious, and I think doctors need to understand the symptoms that are associated with CCM.